Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is Pete R. Porker. Since the 40th anniversary year of Hulkamania is here, and Wrestlemania 40 is right around the corner, I say it's a good time for us to look at each one of Hulk Hogan's Mania matches and rank them from the least to the most iconic and impactful, brother. Coming in at the very bottom is Hulk Hogan's rematch with Andrew, make that Andre the Giant, at WrestleMania 4. If you thought the match that Hogan and Andre had at WrestleMania 3 was a sluggish and plodding affair, this one makes that one look Steamboat versus Savage-like in comparison. To be fair, the match was given under 6 minutes, which was probably a good thing. Andre's health was declining since Mania 3, and this rematch failed to capture the legendary aura of the first. It also ended in a double DQ, which led to DiBiase getting a bye to go on to the finals against Savage for the title, which DiBiase lost. Ooh yeah, dig it! Up next is Hogan tagging with his good buddy Brutus the Barber Beefcake, with a recently turned babyface Jimmy Hart managing them to take on Money Incorporated, the $1 Million Man, and IRS. This match is a surreal sight to behold, since this is the first time at Mania since Mania 4 that Hogan was on in the middle of the card. Fear not though, little Hulkamaniacs. He still would main event on this night at WrestleMania 9. More on that, though, later. This match was famous, or infamous, for Hogan sporting a black eye due to Macho Man clocking the crap out of him backstage for reasons. Maybe Hogan accidentally farted in Miss Elizabeth's general direction. However, the rumor mill told of the black eye being the result of Hogan's head hitting Savage's fist backstage, but Hogan says it was due to a jet skiing accident. Anyhow, Hogan and his good buddy Beefy Booty lost by DQ since Hogan used his buddy's still face protector as a weapon. Our heroes. Next on the list is Hogan taking on Psycho Sid at WrestleMania 8 in '92. Many fans wanted the dream match of Ric Flair versus Hogan to main event this WrestleMania, but they had to settle for Hogan versus the Hannibal Lecter crazy half-a-brain you have big man Sid instead. This match was definitely a far cry from the legendary feuds Hogan had with the Ultimate Warrior 2 years prior, and even Sergeant Slaughter a year earlier in '91. In 1992, at the Hoosier Dome, Hogan and Sid wrestled a fairly lackluster grudge match, which was further marred by a botch from Papa Shango, who ran out too late due to a miscue where he was to break up a pin attempt by Hogan. As a result, Sid had to kick out of Hogan's leg drop, and Hogan won by DQ when Papa Shango and Sid attacked him, and then Ultimate Warrior returned to make the save. While Flair and Hogan did have matches at house shows prior to this event, the thought was the house show fans weren't reacting strongly enough to book it as a Mania main event match. So we got this match instead, and a pretty awesome match involving Flair and Savage anyway on this night, so don't cry too hard. Remember WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace? Yeah, I hope you do. I just talked about it mere minutes ago. Well, Hogan would make another appearance on this night after he and Beaver Bottoms failed attempt at capturing the tag titles from Money Incorporated. Big Brother Hulk made the save for the US of A after Canucker Bret Hart was defeated by the big behemoth Yokozuna. Failing to capture the title from Big Yoko, Bret gave his blessing, probably under clenched teeth and cussing, for Hulk Hogan to take on the mighty Yoko. What Hart didn't get done in 9 minutes, Hogan handily did in 20-something seconds to score the win. Hey, Big Yoko was probably tired by then. Bret lost the title on this night, but Big Yoko didn't have long to celebrate thanks to the power of the handlebar stash, brother. Controversial? You betcha. This could barely even be considered a match, but boy, the impact of it was felt, and it helps cement this as arguably the worst WrestleMania ever. At WrestleMania 7, Old Glory was flying high, and Hulk Hogan brought the patriotic Pythons to do battle with turncoat Iraqi sympathizer Sergeant Slaughter. With Slaughter now at his vilest, aligning himself with General Agnon and Colonel Mustafa, America needed a hero. But G.I. Joe was busy taking a leak, and Superman had his hands full trying to recover from a quest for peace that nearly killed him 4 years earlier. Enter the Hulkster. This match was hot on the heels of the Persian Gulf War, and the storyline was mired in controversy. Hogan thankfully big-booted and leg-dropped his way to victory and scored the gold for the red, white, and blue. It was a huffing and puffing slog at times, but the storyline overshadowed anything that happened in the ring for this particular match. WrestleMania 2 with the iconic steel blue cage comes in next as Hogan goes on to battle with King Kong Bundy. Mania 2 was mainly noted for the show being hosted in 3 localities: in Uniondale, New York, Rosemont, Illinois, and LA, California. Hogan and Bundy appeared as the main event in LA. Mania 2 fell oddly enough on a Monday and was widely panned by critics and fans alike for its poor execution as a result of being hosted in 3 different cities. Hogan and Bundy were 2 larger-than-life spectacles battling in Old Blue and did their best, but the event lacked the punch of Mania 1 and 3 that would follow it. But boy, was that blue cage pretty. Hogan's final match as an in-ring competitor at WrestleMania came at WrestleMania 19, as Hogan took on the big boss man himself, and no, not the Cobb County Chihuahua cooking corrections officer. I'm talking about the big boss, Vince McMahon. Considering both men had a combined age of nearing Methuselah heading into this match, the match was so much better than it really should have been. Obviously, it wasn't a scientifically technical catch-as-catch-can classic, but it was a wildly entertaining street fight between 2 industry icons that got the ball rolling for Mania way back in '85. For that reason alone, this spectacular spectacle was iconic before the bell even rang, and yes, Hogan won, brother. Speaking of the WrestleMania that started it all, Hogan teamed with A-Team and Rocky III actor Mr. T to take on the wildly entertaining and hellish Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in a tag team match, playa. This star-studded event had the likes of Liberace, Cyndi Lauper, and Muhammad Ali, to name just a few, and the Mania event had 3 movie stars in it too. Piper would go on to star in some cult classic sci-fis like They Live and Hell Comes to Frogtown a few years later. This match is about as 80s iconic as it gets, and its legendary status as the first Mania main event is forever cemented in history, with Hogan and Mr. T running wild on Piper and Paul for the win. Now, moving into top-tier territory, we hit the Final Four with Rock vs. Hogan at WrestleMania 18. As part of a Mr. McMahon-led NWO, Hollywood Hogan came in with Hall and Nash at No Way Out, get it, NWO, in 2002. VKM instructed the Bad Boys in Black and White to take out Stone Cold Steve Austin first, but Hogan had his eyes set on The Rock. The 2 generational legends battled for supremacy at WrestleMania 18. The match itself had its sloppy moments, but it didn't matter what it had, because the spectacle was an electric atmosphere and was simply awesome to behold. Hogan and Rock battled in a decent to good match that had the crowd of crazy Canuckers going wild for Hogan, as this was Hogan's first Mania match in 9 years. Rock won the match, but Hogan won the hearts of an electric and enthused crowd, and Rock himself showed Hogan respect after the match, shaking his hand and embracing him. At WrestleMania 5 in 1989, the Mega Powers exploded as former tag team partners Savage and Hogan clashed with Miss Elizabeth in a neutral corner. This is arguably Hogan's best Mania match in terms of pure athleticism. It marked a slow burn years worth of storytelling that led to this thrilling match between two of wrestling's biggest icons in the golden era or any era. Hogan won, but the wrestling audience also won with this immortal showcase before that term was even coined. Up next is the titanic battle of two babyface titans as the Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, went head-to-head to battle with World Heavyweight Champion, fellow babyface Hulk Hogan. This WrestleMania match was special for the fact that fans didn't often get to see back then two babyfaces clash, and the added bonus of title for title cemented this clash as a historically significant encounter. Hogan and Warrior gave each other arguably the best match of their careers in a high-octane, energetic bout. This match was perfectly laid out by Pat Patterson. There was nothing fancy here, but the two blew away everyone's expectations in terms of a highly athletic and enthralling contest. This match told a highly entertaining and invested-in story, and the fans were split down the middle, cheering for Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior gave Hogan an unheard-of clean loss as he pinned him for his first world title. Both men hit the heights of historic wrestling ferocity with a match that is one of the most legendary. Hogan passed the torch to the Ultimate Warrior that night with an embrace after handing him the title. Warrior's career would hit many bumps along the way, along with controversies, but on this night he was on top of the world. Even if the torch would eventually fall away from him, this match felt of Greek god mythical status. The final match on this list is not what one would consider a great athletic encounter by any stretch of the imagination, but it didn't have to be. All you needed was Hogan and Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, and the rest is wrestling history. Sure, people rave about Savage and Steamboat's work rate excellence at WrestleMania 3, and rightfully so, but it was Hogan and Andre that put the record-breaking butts in the seats. It was said that there was 97,173 people at the Pontiac Silverdome at the time. More recently, it said the numbers were actually 78,000, but oh well. This match spectacle and storyline was in a stratosphere all its own. The historic significance of this match far outweighs any work in the ring on this night. The body slam that was heard around the world, which manager Heenan would dispute was a hip toss, was a seismic shift of significance as Hogan body slammed and pinned the legendary Andre the Giant to score the title at the Pontiac Silverdome. The goosebumps and chills from this mythical battle of two wrestling icons can only be put best in the immortal words of Gorilla Monsoon.
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Certainly, if these Hogan WrestleMania matches were ranked in order of athleticism, they would be ranked vastly different. But this list was more of a top Hogan Mania moments of significance list. Thanks for watching. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, and smash that like and sub button like Hogan smashes opponents with a big boot and a leg drop. Bye for now, Hulkamaniacs.
What you gonna do?